Let me see if I can tie some things together and maybe simplify a little bit and then dig into what if I'm hearing you guys correctly, some of the key biochemistry for why certain things are true. So you've got omega-6s, you've got omega-3s, you've got other types of fatty acids, but if we're just talking about the PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fatty acids, two big classes, omega-6s, those are what we refer to when we're talking about seed oils. Then you've got omega-3s, that's typically referred to as fish oil. Omega-6s are going to serve as the precursors to the pro-inflammatory lipid mediators most of the time. The omega-3s are basically going to serve as the precursors to the resolving lipid mediators. And so you want these things in balance. And it sounds like it really does matter what your balance is on the intake side, your fatty acid intake, the food you're eating and its fat content. Because when these things are, the reason these things go out of balance, I think ties to what you said, Tim, which is they have the same enzyme is responsible for processing both of them. And so there's sort of like this rate limiting thing or this funnel where if you've got an imbalance on the intake side, then you're going to produce more of the one class of lipid mediators on the output side of that enzyme because it's the same enzyme processing both the omega-6s and the omega-3s. And so unfortunately, it would be great if your body could just take an arbitrary set of fatty acids and then make exactly everything in perfect balance. But based on this biochemical limit here and how these enzymes work, that's not the case. And so your intake really needs to be balanced, if I'm hearing you.
And it might be a better index of health because there are studies that show that a higher omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in plasma is linked to increased mortality risk from all causes. Cancer, cardiovascular disease, individuals have the highest ratios and have had a 26% higher risk of mortality and a 14% higher cancer mortality. So a lot more work needs to be done here, but the concept that an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio might be important indicator of health, I think is something that needs to be explored.
I just want to point out that, as already Tim mentioned, you are what you eat. Again, there is slightly more than that there. So when you eat, what you eat and how much you eat. So those are getting granular because down the line, your, everyday biology in context of circadian rhythm contributing to that component. And that's where it is coming to the point that when these lipid mediators form using the processed fat, and sometimes people think that, hey, those are absolutely kind of these seed oils are bad. But one point we just need to understand their name. They called as essential fatty acids, means they are absolutely essential into 1 to 3% for the initiation of inflammation when there is injury or infection, because those molecules are the one gives a signal to our immune cells, hey, there is a problem, come over there. So those invite the immune cells. But here is what happening is that they are continuously giving that signal, hey, come here at the site of the tumor, here party is going on.
Ganesh, I think you said that the omega-6s are necessary at 1 to 3%. What did you mean by that 1 to 3% of calories?
1 to 3% in terms of their, depending on the growth curve. If you are in the adult phase, then probably in the 1 to 3% in terms of the how much you are taking as in the form of the grams, how much you are taking in the diet.
So a tiny percentage should be
tiny percentage, and that also needs to kind of clubbed with how much you are active versus what's your sleeping pattern. So those all three components necessary for the activity of the enzymes machinery, what the team was mentioning, that because this machinery process both the omega-3 and omega-6 in response to injury.